Hi, it's BNL from Think Before You Type, and we're here with Ewan J Phillips. Thank you so much for being willing to talk with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, so our first question. So you just recently released a new single called Strangers in the Night. Congratulations on that. Can you talk a little bit about the song and what your writing and recording process was like for it?
So, I mean, this song is really, really personal to me and really special. I think the way that I kind of treat songs, normally they're basically diary entries. So for me, this is quite a strange one as well. And it's sort of taken a couple of years to come to fruition. The recording process was so interesting though. So crazy, because obviously that's how Carrie got involved, was about a week and a half before I'm due to go in the studio with my duet partner, who I'd kind of got ready to go in. That becomes off the table. She's gone. And I'm singerless. I don't have my duet partner anymore. It's a week and a half before I've like got studio time booked. I'm going in with Brett. It's gonna be great. And for like the next week, I'm scrambling, asking friends. I play a gig and I ask the support act to be like, "Would you sing my song with me?" So I'm like really desperately trying to find someone. And even though some people have been really nice and said, yeah, it doesn't feel quite like the one for some reason, because it's such a personal song and I had such an attachment to how I was going to do it. I didn't want to just do it with someone I didn't know, someone who wouldn't have meant as much to me. I'd be like, great, it'll come out and it'll sound nice, but I feel like there wouldn't have been a realness. So I was sitting in the kitchen with my mum going like, oh God, what am I going to do? And she was like, it was a bit random. She's like, why don't you ask Carrie? I'm like, Mum, me and Carrie haven't chatted in like 6 years. Like, I can't just come out the blue and like be like, hey, do you want to sing my song? And I'm like, she's like, no, go on, do it. It'll be fine. It's great. And I'm like, look, literally, she's so busy. I can't just be like, come sing my song. But I kind of tweak and I think, do you know what? Why don't she knows plenty of singers. Why don't I drop her a line and say, hey, do you know any singers who might be able to jump on this literally for Monday? It's Friday now, on Monday morning in the studio. And like, I just drop a little line and be like, hi, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you know anyone who might be able to help me out because I've had my singer drop out. She's like, I love it. Can I do it? And I don't know. I just thought it was a really lovely response. I didn't really expect her to, and she's like, when is it? I'm like, it's Monday. And she's like, oh, you're quite lucky because I'm actually free on Monday. So it was really beautiful, really lovely. And then, as I say, it's probably, I think me and Carrie talked about it. It's probably been about 6 years since we like hung out or like properly chatted. And then probably like a good 10 years since we were like being regular friends, hanging out and doing things together. So it was great. It was amazing. And on the day, that's what I wanted to lead into, is that both of us was like, this is kind of weird. It's sort of like exactly the same. We just kind of got on really well and chilled, and it was a really, really fun day.
I feel like that had to be really scary, like going into that week and like not having someone, and it's amazing that it worked out so well.
Yeah, because I always wanted this song because it was written from such a romantic standpoint of like, as a, you know, I really missed this kind of best friend and you know, relationship that I'd lost, and I really wanted it back, and I really wanted to make the story about that. But when the singer fell through, it became about something different. Because just lyrically, I don't know, it just sort of liberated it from that narrative of being like, oh, I want this relationship back. It just literally became about me and Carrie just like having a nice day, which I'm so into. I just like, it's great.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. So your answer actually just led us perfectly into our next question. So you had the chance to reconnect with your old friend Carrie through Strangers in the Night. What would you say to someone who maybe right now like is thinking about reaching out to an old friend but is kind of hesitant to do so?
So I've become a bit of an addict for this recently. Because obviously my first situation was a bit gunpoint. I was a bit like, oh, I've just got to do something, and it was sort of a last resort. But then, you know, you think it's going to be awkward, you think it's going to be different, and it was just so much fun. Like, it's one of my favorite like hangouts that I've had with someone recently. It was really, really special, and as a result, I've kind of gone on to, obviously with Corona, I've had a lot more time and a lot more time sat at my laptop or whatever. And I've kind of done the same with some other old friends. And again, each time I'm just like, oh, this is this is cool. And then like one of the people I reached out to, we were just having a kind of normalish chat after having, you know, we've reconnected more recently. And she's like, Ewan, I've just got to say, it's really lovely that we're just like, oh, I'm so glad we're friends again and hanging out. Do you know what I mean? And every time that happens, it just makes me feel great. Even talking about it now makes me want to go and find another old friend that I haven't done it with yet.
That's how I'm feeling right now.
Exactly.
Like I'm totally inspired by you. I want to go out and like definitely reconnect with people. And you're right. I think that's been something I've been trying to get myself to do a little bit more recently. And the results have been really surprising. And it can be really cool to be able just to reconnect with someone.
Don't think about it as if, oh, what's going to happen? Just get on the call. Do you know? Don't think about it until you're actually face to face with the person, because that's what old friends is. You just kind of click back into place, don't you?
Yeah, that happens to me every time I reconnect with my old friends.
So talking about music a little bit more, can you tell us who some of your musical influences are?
Do you want like icons or recent people who just float my boat?
How about a mixture? I love the idea of the recent people. How about those first and then some icons?
So at the moment I really like Aquilo. Emily Burns is literally nailing it at the moment. Oh, love it. I think Reese Lewis is really, really cool at the moment. Gabrielle Aplin will always have this little space in my heart. So when she like drops new music as well, it's just like, oh, it's everything.
It's always so good.
It was great. I'm being a weird super stalker. I like stood next to her once and was like, oh god, and I was like so excited to go over and say hi. And then I like when I turned around to go do it, she'd like gone, and I was like, oh no, I missed it.
Oh no, she's fantastic. We always say like since we started Think Before You Type, we've like at the same time kind of been like listening to her, and it's been amazing to hear like all the different directions she's taken and how like every time she releases something new, it's just incredible.
Yeah, without fail.
That's the thing, and most artists shy away from that, and I think she's maybe being a bit more risky by saying, do you know what, I'm going to make this music which is a bit different to the one before. Yeah, I think I've got a lot of time for that, a lot of respect. Although Light Up the Dark is always maybe going to be my favorite.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah, she's great. All right, and then you were saying also there's some icons that you love. So who are some of those people?
Well, that's more like Bowie and Stevie Wonder, and like something a bit more left field is probably like Frank Sinatra, or like not necessarily Frank, but I suppose he epitomizes that whole swing genre. And then like I grew up with bands like Chili Peppers and like Block Party, and like even the emo bands like My Chemical Romance, just you know what I mean? Just sort of, I've got such a wide variety of things that I like, but those guys just absolute dreamboats.
How are you able to incorporate those influences into your music when you're writing?
Just all the feels. Well, I think they do manage to kind of get their way in. I think some would be songwriting. So you kind of got songwriting with just like melody and like rhythms and drums and stuff. And then you got lyrics. I think I channel more of the like lyrical side, like singer-songwriters, but then maybe some of the like chord choices or melodic choices of other people. And then like the kind of groove and the more like aggressive tones and like the emotional, the way I might sing, or like the kind of things I might sing about, you know, they all sort of blend together a little bit. Like I'm surprised I've managed to get arpeggiators in a soulful ballad, basically. That's my own little thing.
So who do you think are some of your role models?
I'm quite bad at like finding role models. Like I know what people say is that, you know, if you don't have role models in your circle, you should like read a book, and then you're kind of connecting with a real role model, someone who you maybe like could really connect with and aspire to be like. I tend to find my role models within my community and within my network. So often like the relationships that I have, I kind of, I think I'm drawn to people that really inspire me. And I think normally when I'm in a relationship as well, that person, I don't know, if I look back and I'd be my own therapist, I think I generally tend to find a lot of inspiration from my partner. There's something that they like challenge me, or they like, there's something about the way they are that I'm just like, wow, you're literally incredible. So yeah, definitely from my friends and my close network.
Yeah, I think it's definitely great to surround yourself with people who inspire you.
with this pandemic and everything going on, we're going through something a lot of us never expected to experience and have never experienced before. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe what some of these experiences and this time has taught you?
I find like my life's pretty random anyway. But this is the most random thing that has ever happened. Do you know what? I feel like I haven't learned anything. And I think that's also okay, because there's a lot of pressure. It's like, oh, what have you learned? What have you got from this? Who are you now? How have you come out into? And it's like, I've learned how long I am willing to procrastinate.
I can relate.
Apparently it's limitless. I will go months without doing so the thing that I say that I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like, I feel like it's pretty human and it's pretty chill, and we should be maybe more accepting of that. But, I likewise, I try and do my little bits of self-improvement, and I think I'm making progress, but I think it's okay if it's slow progress,
I like that, because I think I've been feeling kind of that same pressure too. Like everyone on Instagram has like figured their life out, and they like eat perfectly and they work out all the time, and like this is the best time of their lives. And like, I don't feel like that. So I like that, because I think most people probably don't. I really like the fact that you said that, because I think it's really freeing to be like, no, like this is real, like this is hard, and you can't always be perfect, and you can't always like have it all figured out.
So what do you think is one positive way that you would like to see the internet in general or social media change?
I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media and the internet. I suppose that's the thing. It's maybe using the internet for more of the internet rather than just social media. But I suppose maybe, because it's kind of this void or this thing. It's quite not that personal, the thing that you interact with. So maybe encouraging or like engendering more empathy, because I suppose you're having this relationship with an object, but I suppose on the other end of that object there are more people. If that makes any sense.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And I think that's something that people bring up pretty often, and we totally agree with this. It's so easy just to like see the screen and see the whatever platform you're on, and to forget that there's like a real human being on the other side that has very, very real feelings, and the things that you say really do impact them, and they matter. And I think it's something that like I think all of us can forget pretty often.
I mean, it's crazy. Like because I've got other musician friends, and some of them much more kind of high profile than me, and it's like when people say things or like make comments about their appearance, or like or if it's like, oh, your skin's not looking great, or do you know what I mean? Oh, they put on weight or whatever. It's just like, that literally knocks that, you might think that person has it all together. You might think that they have everything in the world, but like, I'll see that person like confidence be knocked for weeks, literally. So, it's madness.
That's huge. I think that's what really like inspired us to start all of this, is that we started to realize that like those little comments, even, like no matter who anyone is, like they're a human being, and the things that you say to them really do impact them. And I think like you're saying, like empathy is really important in that, because I think I was just like thinking this really recently too, is like you look at comments sometimes of people who do put themselves out there and how a lot of people watch them, and the things people say are really terrible. And I can't imagine being able to handle people saying those things to me, and saying them at the rate that they say them sometimes. And like, of course, those are the comments that stand out.
Yeah, it's like, and then what? You have to develop this really thick skin. I don't know. It's a strange place, because obviously I sort of had a look at these questions, and I was having a little chat with it about my sister, and about it with my sister, and it's like you can't take away free speech. You can't take away people's ability to say anything, because they're growing up in 1984 or something. But it's like, how do you get people to think about it for more than a millisecond? Because it takes a millisecond to type it.
Yeah, exactly. It really does. And I think you're right. I think that's something that we've had other people bring up too, is the idea that like, of course we want people to feel free to say what they want to say. And I think that's such a wonderful freedom that a lot of us are privileged to have. But at the same time, I think there comes a lot of responsibility with that. And I think part of it really is just like reminding people of that. And and hopefully creating a kinder internet with all of that.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of like where the name of our organization comes in, like, because it's so easy to not think about what you're saying and just post it. But if you take a second to really think and reflect on what you're saying and like how it could have further impacts, then like maybe you'll think before you actually say that to someone else.
For real. Yeah. For real.
All right, so going off of that, so people are using social media, especially right now, I think, to connect even more than ever before. But unfortunately, not all of these interactions are positive, and people are being cyberbullied, dealing with trolls, or however else we might want to say that people aren't treating each other well online. So if you had the chance to talk with someone who is being cyberbullied or dealing with negative comments, what would you say to help encourage them?
So sorry it's happening. It's a really horrible experience, isn't it? And yeah, just really sorry that's happening to you, because it's going to take a toll on your emotions and it's not going to feel good. So I've experienced bullying in school, and I would say maybe admitting it, that it's happening, because I think often one of the things you can do is be like, oh, it's not happening. But you're like, oh, these people are my friends, and they are, they are giving, it's fine, we're all just having a laugh. And then it can kind of lead to more, I suppose. So maybe just admitting it, and talking to someone about it. So bringing it up, saying it out loud, because then they can be like, what, they said that. And then that person can almost verify that what that person has done or said is completely out of order. Because if you're like, then how are you even supposed to verbalize it or get any, any backup? But probably more importantly, I don't know if it's more importantly, but I love this. It's one of my favorite quotes. Are you even ready? But people always accuse things that they themselves are guilty of, right? So usually people are just like mad insecure and just like feel insecure about something, and they're just throwing it at you. They're just projecting their own insecurities. So, talk to someone about it, but if you need to depersonalize it because it's hurtful, just be like, okay, they're literally talking about themselves. This doesn't actually relate to me and it's not personal. It's not actually a personal attack. It's just them talking about themselves in my general direction. And that hopefully can give you some distance to kind of like come out of, hiding or feeling hurt. And then you can kind of start to feel better or take action or whatever.
I like that. I think both of those things are really empowering. I think it's really important, like you said, to talk to someone else, and the validation that you can get from having a conversation like that, I think, is priceless. And then, like you said, putting it into perspective and really just kind of reminding yourself that other person is probably having a really difficult time with themselves. And I think that really helps, because it makes it so much less about you. And
this thing is, it doesn't excuse them. Just because they might be having a bad time doesn't mean they have the right to speak to you like that. And you need to set your boundaries in place and say, do you know what? No, I don't deserve to be talked to like that. And I'm going to remove you from my life, or remove you from being able to have that power over me. But at the same time, just using that knowledge that they're not actually talking about you to protect yourself. Because I don't know. I think you should be compassionate and look to, forgive and be open to people. But a lot of people aren't looking for you to be nice to them. So you just need to make sure that you're looked after first, because if they're being horrible to you in the first place, just cut that person out, man. Done.
Yes. Exactly. I love it. Once again, super empowering.
Yes.
So I'm trying to train myself. I'm trying to get my boundaries to be a bit better. So as someone who hasn't had those boundaries in place and now is implementing them, I want to encourage people to, get there sooner.
So people often forget it, but a little bit of kindness can go a really long way. So when was the last time that a stranger made you smile?
Oh, okay. I don't know if this counts, but so I was on the tube. You remember the tube, right? Oh, well, sorry, you guys. Subway.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So it must have been a while now. I kind of get on the platform, and sometimes you get people on the tube, as I'm sure you do on the subway. There's like a kind of craziometer where there's like acceptable, pleasant, funny, and then it kind of starts getting weird, and then you worry for your own safety. So this guy he was in the humorous category for me, because I was in a kind of like lighthearted mood, and he wasn't being dangerous. So he was just standing on the platform and singing why Delilah, but in like this quite impressive operatic tone. Like he was Tom Jones in the hell out of this. It was sounding beautiful. And he was just having a little giggle to himself, singing this song. And I plopped myself like near enough to him that I could get all of the comedy value, but not too close that we would become best friends. I was definitely at the show. I was enjoying the show, and I like clocked him, and he clocked me, and we have a little look, and it's like, I see you, mate. I know everyone else is ignoring you, but great job. So that was cute. I had a great time.
I like that. I like that you were like willing to put yourself out there a little bit and connect.
Yeah. No, everyone else was blanking him, so I thought I'd sort of, just be a body that's within 6 feet of him, because there was, that circle that sort of seems to happen.
I like that. Once again, you put yourself out there a little bit, like within your own realm of safety, but still like you're able to acknowledge another person, which is always great.
I just held him. Maybe he was having a crazy day. I sort of held him by I'm like, dude, it's all right. I got you.
I'm sure he appreciated it.
Yeah. But I kind of want to be that guy. Don't you sometimes want to be that person just like singing your heart out on public transport? It's kind of a bit weird.
As someone who sings for a living, maybe you,
I don't
not
think
me.
You don't want to hear me sing.
I don't think anyone wants me to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very hypersensitive. Like I wouldn't want to annoy anyone. And I'm on the tube. Like people are just going to where they've got to go. They don't really need me like annoying them. But there's also this super amazing guy who comes on, and I know him. He's quite regular. He gets on my train a lot, and he does like tap dancing, and he's just super smiley and amazing. And he just puts out good vibe, just gives a lot out. And every time I see him, it just makes me smile. So he's given out a lot. It's great.
So it sounds like just your experiences on the tube make you smile. That's what we're picking up right now.
Am I just saying I missed the train?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yes.
I'm working up to doing a live stream. I've done little live streams acoustic, but I want to do like a full setup. So I do this kind of live looping setup, and I'm working my confidence and the practice of it up to like turning on Facebook Live, and then it all just work, and you'll hear everything. I'm not there yet, but that's my big project. I did a cello lesson. So working with other people has helped. I've kind of like, because there's some like core skills that I don't really have lessons in that I wanted to go back to. So it's been really helpful actually. Just even to kind of get a new kind of beginning point to work from. You can see I'm all rigged up and ready to go here.
Oh yeah. You have a full show. Are you recording stuff now?
Bits and bobs. So like I got pretty lucky that right before the UK went into lockdown, I'd been tracking final vocals for like songs that I'd been working on. So it pretty much like I finished recording my vocals, and then we got cut off from society, and I was like, oh well, I've kind of done a lot of the work that I needed to be somewhere else. So in that case, like in that regards, I'm very, very super grateful, and I'm really really lucky in that sense, because I could have not have recorded the vocals and then be like, oh great, got to wait 4 months until so I'm working remotely with producers, and everyone's being super generous and super lovely and super proactive within the musical community, and I've got a lot of time for that. So I really got to shout out Brett and Liam, Forbes, and everyone, and Kai, all my squad. Because yeah, it's just people are doing things like oh, I'll just mix your song and just let me know, and they're people are being cool about money because they realize everyone's like up against it or whatever. So I really rate, and got to say I'm really impressed with everyone going the extra mile.
Incredible to hear that people are like really banding together and looking out for each other, and just like working together as well as you can with these circumstances.
Yeah. And everyone's just streaming the hell out of JP Sax's song. Do you know it?
Wait, which song?
If the World Was Ending. If the
Oh,
World Was Ending.
So,
And
yeah.
Julia Michaels.
wait, I think I was listening to that song this morning, but I didn't realize that there was like a thing right now with it.
No, well, no, it's not a thing, I suppose, but it came out like a couple of months ago, and I love that song, and I was like, oh man, this is great. And then the whole Corona started happening, and then now on Instagram I'm getting like adverts of it all the time. Or do you know what I mean? Not necessarily, but it's like coming up because people can relate to it.
Interesting. That's so funny because like randomly I was listening to him this morning and had no idea. What's your favorite?
I like Same Room a lot. I like Explain You. I like how does it go? The one where he's got all the girls. No, I have to check.
Yeah, no, we have to know.
Oh, I love Women Who Look Like You. My phone's full of women who look like you. It's amazing. Sorry, that's my bop. That's my jam. I'm far too excited about that for a second. I'm going to calm down now.
Right,
I didn't even shout out JP in cool musicians. What's wrong with me? And Julia Michaels and Len and Stella. I didn't shout out any of those. Ugh.
Well, this was so much fun. It was great to meet you. Like one of these days you'll have to either come over here or we'll have to go over there and like watch you play live. It would be incredible.
Yeah.
I would love it. It was like last year, this uni that had this glee club or kind of a cappella group called the Tockatones reached out and wanted to do a version of I Wish I Was the Moon. And I was like, yeah, totally do it. I'll come over. And and I Wish I Was the Moon is like doing quite well in the US as opposed to other places, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I would love to come over. Where do you recommend?
We're like, we go to school in Philly, so
we're biased.
Yeah.
No way. My aunt lives in Philly.
No way. So you have to play in Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can recommend
I think when I was 8, we spent a summer with her there.
No way.
And it was cool. It was a cool way of life. We just like rollerblade around town, and then everyone's got like a swimming pool or something.
Thank you so much. And like I said, like seriously, let us know if you're ever in the Philly area then, and we'll let you know if we're ever over in your area as well.
Yeah, London, UK, Palmer's Green. What? Got to give a shout out to my very suburban, not very interesting ends.